Welcome to the Ignited Entrepreneurs Podcast, where each week I will chat with an amazing entrepreneur who has figured out their secret sauce to running a successful business and share all of that juicy goodness to help you find your secret sauce to take your next quantum leap in your business. This week's episode is brought to you by the Speakers Club calendar. Are you a professional public speaker looking for companies who want to hire you? The Speakers Club calendar is an invaluable resource to put you in direct contact with the right people for the right events at the right time. No more endless hours of searching for events. The Speakers Club calendar brings it all to you in one place at exactly the right time. Each month, the Speakers Club calendar releases the next batch of listings, complete with everything you will need to be first in line to apply directly to the decision makers. To check out this amazing resource, look for the link in the show notes. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today on another episode of Ignited Entrepreneurs. I'm very excited to have our very first guest in the new format that I'm offering for 2020. And her name is Eleni Anastos, and she runs a company called Business Insights Now, based out of Florida. So, Eleni, thank you so much for being my very first guest. I'm so excited to have you here.
Oh, Jessica, it's an absolute honor to be here with you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So I understand that you get called the money goddess. Can you please tell me about that? I need a money goddess in my life. So tell me about yourself.
Yes, I have been blessed to be given that name by several entrepreneurs that I have worked with in the past. And I learned that regardless of the amount of money that someone was making, I learned firsthand by working with so many entrepreneurs, including myself, that most people had a really strained, often negative relationship with money itself. The money was controlling them. They were not controlling it. And constant internal battles, limiting beliefs. And I also saw how it was impacting other areas of their lives. So when I dove in deep to really, really try to be more effective and help people be more effective in their connection with money, it really made a difference, and people were seeing that it impacted other areas of their lives as well.
That makes so much sense. And I'm sure most of our viewers can relate to that, at least on some level, for sure. So
yes. Well, your connection with money is one of the most significant relationships you have in life, but it's the one most people rarely want to discuss, and they don't give it the attention it deserves.
Right.
You know,
I guess we hope that it will just be a byproduct of everything else that we're doing, right?
Right. But
yeah,
I ask people, if you want a rich and rewarding relationship, say with your spouse, significant other, a business partner, clients, your children, don't you have to pay attention to them?
Right.
So how can you expect to have a rich and rewarding relationship with money if you're too hesitant to pay attention to it?
Yeah, that makes total sense. And, and that's one of the things that I think is so important as we all grow our businesses, or we just even move forward in our lives, is just to start to bring awareness. Awareness is the key, right? So to have, somebody like yourself point out that, yes, all these things that you want is wonderful, but you need to think about this first and foremost, or you'll never get there. So creating that awareness for, like you say, building that relationship or changing that relationship is beautiful. So,
yes.
Yeah. So I'm curious, how did you get started with your business? What made you decide to go into business?
Well, I was blessed to grow up with some entrepreneurs as wonderful role models. So I always had the entrepreneurial spirit. And at one point in time, I was helping small to medium business owners get money when the bank said no, doing accounts receivable financing, equipment leasing. And it was very gratifying to help them open their doors, and in some cases, keep their doors open.
That's beautiful.
But what mattered most was connecting and cultivating those relationships, because I believe in connections, and cultivating relationships is what matters most in any area of life.
I love it. I think that's why you and I were attracted to each other, because that is
Yes.
absolutely bedrock of what I believe in as well. So,
Yeah. And I have definitely found that how you do money is how you do everything.
mm,
And I've heard people say how you do anything is how you do everything. To me, it's exactly stating the same thing.
mm-hmm.
And if something is impacting you in one area of your life, eventually it's going to bleed over into all the other areas. And when I would meet so many soulful, talented, creative entrepreneurs
Mm-hmm.
that were struggling, that I said, I've got to do something about this. I've got to help them live their best life. I've got to help them make the money they deserve to make.
I love it. So can you tell me about how you operate? Like, how does your business work? What is it that you offer?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I work with entrepreneurs that are just starting and they could be well along the path. And the first thing we begin with is absolutely their mindset.
Mm,
Because the number one thing you should do, honestly, if you want to make a lot of money or achieve any income goal, is free yourself from past beliefs. Because nobody can succeed beyond their current beliefs.
absolutely. But what's
No,
scary is they don't know they have them, right?
right. It's like this insidious subconscious that's been playing with you and you don't realize it. Because most of us grew up with these beliefs
Mm-hmm.
and it was just a part of our life. We didn't know that. So,
Yeah, it's a truth that we've taken on, right?
yes,
So,
yes.
yeah.
And it's almost like signing a contract as if this was the only truth. So,
Yes.
the first thing I do, whether the entrepreneur is making 5,000, 50,000, or 5 million,
Mm-hmm.
is we dig deep to figure out where their head is at regarding money. And then we look at their programs and their services because I see most entrepreneurs not knowing how to properly package their services. And without question, they are not charging what they're worth.
Yeah. I hear that a lot from people, for sure.
And I think we as entrepreneurs and we as adults, we're the ones that get to decide if the juice is worth the squeeze.
Ooh, I like that. The juice is worth the squeeze. I might have to quote you on that.
Yes, yes. Because when you get caught up in what I call comparison-itis, well, I can't charge this because somebody else in the industry is only charging that.
Mm,
Well, but you can't compare yourself. You don't know exactly what they deliver, but you know what your intentions are and you know what you deliver.
mm-hmm.
So when I talk about juice worth the squeeze, you decide your value. Don't let an outside force determine your value.
I love that. I love that. And I mean that's a good message for your entire life, not just
Yes,
money, right? So,
yes.
yeah.
Well, having that, because I know I used to have very much a scarcity mindset and was so frugal that I had almost become nauseous thinking about investing in myself. And I was
Mm,
uncomfortable talking about money. And I had a client once, beautiful, soulful, super talented, but she was so afraid of talking about money. And if you're uncomfortable talking about money and you're an entrepreneur, you're going to hesitate to ask for the sale. You might even apologize for your fees, or most definitely include way too much in your packages and your programs, and you can't sustain a business that way.
yeah.
And
I've heard, sorry, I've heard somebody say this and it really resonated for me. It's like, is it, if you're not selling your services, it's a hobby. If you're not
yes,
making money in your business, it's a hobby. So do you want a
yes,
hobby or do you want a business?
yes.
Yeah,
And if you
that
don't,
that really impacted me when I heard that. It was very, it provided a lot of clarity and it's really changed the way that I personally have started to see my business. So I can see how working with somebody like you would be able to help somebody to change the ways that they see their business, therefore, their strategies, what they need to do to move forward, and that helping to find those beliefs that are holding them back would just be like exactly what everybody needs to do to move forward. If you can't do that, if you can't find that person to provide that clarity for you, you're stuck. You're going to stay stuck, right?
yes, yes. And we can't see the things on our own. And I think reaching out for help, getting support. This one client that I had briefly mentioned, she, again, super talented, nowhere near her earning potential. I mean, she didn't know how she was going to pay for her car from one month to the next. She was never sure she could pay for her rent. And we started talking and realized, she was sharing the money story that she grew up with, and her parents, all due respect, were doing the best they could, but she grew up hearing things like money's the bad guy, there's never enough to go around, or there was arguments about money. So there was no way she was confidently discussing money with clients or standing up for herself in any way. And when we started working together, she realized, like, oh my gosh, I was owning all of their beliefs and bringing it forward into adulthood.
Yes.
And when that switch flipped, it was amazing. Through a lot of work, she was willing to do the work.
Yeah.
She was confidently stating her fees. She ended up making, within a few months, 6 times more than she was before we started. And
I love those stories.
the best part, she was confident in stating what she wanted in all areas of her life. Because prior to working together, she had one miserable relationship after another.
Wow.
And not only is she now making more money, she is married to the love of her life.
Oh, I love it. And I love how it all trickles through all areas of your life, right? It's like you said, it's like once she created a boundary here, she was able to create a boundary there, or create a standard, right?
Yes.
I love hearing those stories. It's not just about money, right?
No.
Yeah.
No. And I want, again, when I say is the juice worth the squeeze, I want people to decide. I'm not telling anybody they need to be a 6 or 7 figure business owner. My point is, you decide what serves you. And like you had mentioned, all those things, we grew up with as well.
Yep.
You have to be able to look at those beliefs. I mean, I loved Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. He didn't say build a widget and grow rich. He said think and grow rich.
Oh, I love that. I've never heard anybody say that before. That's brilliant. Yeah. And I mean, I'm with you on the mindset, right? Like, I am very much a believer in the power of our brain that we have not tapped into. So I love that. Think and grow rich. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it really is that simple. And when we've been indoctrinated, we don't know. So it's always good. I mean, I believe you have to have somebody else, another set of eyes on you and your business to be effective. I mean, I do that. I have my own coach. I couldn't imagine trying to help somebody along without practicing what I was preaching.
Yeah, absolutely. I've done the same thing in all different areas. Like, I currently have a business coach that I work with, but I'm about to launch into taking a sales course, right? Like, I've always, whatever's coming up for me in different areas of my life, I will go and I will find the person that I need for that part of my growing my business. Whatever level that I've gotten to now requires a different version of myself, and then therefore a different person to come into my life to help me with it. So that's what I've been finding.
Yes. I love that you are doing that and saying that, because that kind of attention, if we're not growing, what's happening?
Yeah.
It's the opposite direction, and that's not appealing to me at all.
Or even being stagnant. That's no fun either, right? That's just spinning your wheels. Because, if you're not moving forward, then we do this busy work. We're always busy, but we're not doing the right things or thinking the right way that's going to actually move us forward. We're still just spinning. And that's why so many people stall out and give up, is they just don't have the right people or the right tools that they need to take them. They're already prepared to do the work. They just need that clarity from somebody outside the situation to create a new direction for them, or put a new idea out there that they can grab a hold of and move forward with. So I love that that's, especially with money, I mean, that's in most cases why a lot of us continue our businesses. I know for myself, when I started mine, it wasn't about that. It was about creating something for myself, which then morphed into wanting to help other people. And then I
Yes.
realized that I could make money at it and I could make a living at it. So it wasn't my initial intention, but now it's like, now it's a big deal. Now having that ability to make this not just my passion or my hobby, but now my what sustains me in my lifestyle is important. So it's that new level that I've reached where now I need a new person, a new coach, a new idea.
Yes, I love that. You talk about reaching a new level. I so appreciate that because I personally don't ever want to be okay with being okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's always about growing. In that being said, it's not a quantum leap every day.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite phrases I heard years ago was small hinges swing big doors.
Ooh, you are good. I like
Yeah.
your quotes.
And when you think of that, small hinges swing big doors. So don't
Mm,
think you have to make some huge, magnificent change to have something shift in your business. You can
mm-hmm.
do one simple thing. Start
Yeah.
today. Add one simple habit. Start today.
Yes.
Because if we're too worried about, I've talked to people that like, well, I have to have it all. No, I understand you want it all, but you
Mm-hmm.
don't get it all in one day.
Yeah. Nice try though.
Yeah. Let me know how that works for you.
Yeah. I'll see you right here next year doing the same things, baby.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I also do believe though, that like okay, so when say a new person comes into your life and they provide
Yes.
a new idea or a new way of looking at things like yourself, or you make a decision to go in a different direction based on a new idea or a new thought or a new technique. Like for myself, I'm NLP certified. So
Mm.
I do a lot of tapping into the unconscious mind and doing a lot of shifts that don't take a lot of time, but they can provide that new insight or that new clarity that can create a quantum leap without
Yes.
having to do, like you were saying, I want it all now, I want it all now. It becomes a byproduct by doing something simple. It can create a quantum leap just because of the way that you're changing the way that you feel and see things. Would you
Yes.
agree? Yeah.
Yes. 100%. In fact, I read somewhere a while ago that here's an analogy that commercial airplanes are off course over 90% of the time,
Ooh, I don't like hearing that.
which sounds crazy, but they're
Yes.
off course. So they course correct by
Oh.
1 or 2 degrees, which
Mm.
initially doesn't feel like anything, but a few hundred miles down the road, they end up where they're supposed to.
Oh, I
So
love that.
I don't want people to get caught up in, oh, this didn't work out, that didn't work out, and then totally get off the track. No, you just can't. We're all constantly course correcting.
Yes. And it's fun. To me, it's fun. The idea of being able to try something without being so attached to the results makes
Yes,
life more fun for me, right? Like, okay,
yes,
I'll try this now. Like this, let's just quickly recap about what you and I are doing here right now. This was an idea that I had that was not as big as what it's turned into, right? So sometimes you
yes,
you leap, you make a decision, you put something out into the universe and you get a very different answer than the one you were looking for. And
yes,
I mean, I have good hopes that this is going to be amazing. And, based on the fact that I have you as my first guest, I have lots of really good, energy and hope for this to be an amazing podcast that I think a lot of people are going to get value from. But, if something happens and it doesn't turn out to be that way, I'm not going to be so attached to it that it's going to crumble me. I'm going to just go, okay, that was something that was great and it worked and, we'll see what happens with it. But maybe that wasn't where I was supposed to be, but we can't be afraid to take those chances, right?
yes. Amen. I so appreciate that
Yeah.
you say that because I think everything that happens, I have adopted the mindset that it's happening for me, not to
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
And
for all I know, this entire idea that I put out was just so you and I could have this chat, like I am so open and willing to just get whatever message I'm supposed to be getting from what I do. And that makes life so much fun.
Yes, yes, that's beautiful that you said that. I so appreciate that. It does, and it takes, well, I think of, and when you get in a car, if you use GPS and maybe you make a wrong turn, you're constantly hearing, recalculating or
Yeah.
rerouting. You
Yes.
don't hear you're screwed, it's the end of the road, you have to stay here forever.
Yeah. Pull over, you're done.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. You have got, it's so much fun talking to somebody new because you get to hear different analogies and metaphors and just different ways that people see the world. I love it. I love it. So I'm so excited that you've come on my show.
Thank you. I so
Yeah,
appreciate your energy.
it's super fun. So is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about your business before we move on to giving, not that you haven't already given our listeners some amazing nuggets, but, before we sort of wrap it up and try to, send them off with all the really goodies, is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your business? Anything that maybe we can put out into the universe that people, how they can connect with you, any things that they could, like services that you offer that maybe our listeners would be like to take advantage of?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Yes, again, and regardless of where the individual is at in their entrepreneurial journey, it's important that they get very clear on their services. Where when you're in the driver's seat where money is concerned, when you control the money, it's not controlling you. And that leads to doing the money work also leads to gaining confidence in those sales conversations, which increases conversion rates. Is when you can teach someone to be confidently stating their fees with anyone without any anxiety, it makes a huge difference in conversion rates.
Yes.
And a beautiful side effect is then that you can have constructive money conversations with anyone in your life.
Beautiful.
And stop over delivering. I'm on a mission to help people to stop over delivering and undercharging.
Now you're talking my language. I think that is where I need to make a shift for sure. Yes, that is, yeah. I just love to help, right? And I think a lot of us, we got into our business for that reason. It starts out that way. And so then it's like everywhere we go, we're looking for somebody that we can, ooze all of our goodness onto, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely, that is definitely the trap that I fall into more often than not. And it is something that I need to learn to control for sure. So thank you for saying that. And again, creating that awareness for me, right? Like I'm good with feedback and I'm good with like recognizing who I am and where I'm at and, where I've been going wrong and where I can change. So when somebody points out something like that, I love it. I'm like, oh, I can take that. That's my nugget right there.
Thank you. And when I share that, I have spent a lot of time in that place too, because I'm very much the nurturer. But the reality is then we're not teaching anybody to stand up on their own.
Right.
And you can't build a sustainable business. I do believe you do need to share. You do need to give. Like doing this podcast, everyone always offers something free on their website, and I believe in sharing. That way, you have to start the connection.
Right.
But when it starts impacting you on a personal, soulful level as well, I keep giving it away and I'm not getting anything back. That again goes back to your belief. So you decide what you want to share and give, but then you do have to build the boundaries, because you are trying to build a business and you can't build a business without building boundaries.
Yes. Yeah. And I think for me, the biggest switch in the last 6 months for me has been, am I building a hobby or am I building a business?
Yeah.
Right. And that mindset right there, making that decision. And if your decision is hobby, then that's great. Then carry on, give your stuff away, do what you do, what makes you feel fulfilled. But if this is a business, then you need to rein yourself in and learn the skills of a business owner and not just a hobbyist, right? And they're completely different. So, but first recognizing what am I doing? What is my intention here, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, I love it. Awesome. Okay, sorry. So now you had something that you were going to offer, I believe, to our listeners.
Yes, for anyone that reaches out, I'd like to offer them an electronic version of what I call a money tracking sheet. And A money tracking sheet is just a simple tool you can use daily. Takes a minute, but it puts the focus on you being in the driver's seat. So on this tracking sheet, you're going to record the amount of money that comes in, whether it's through commission, some kind of a payment, a refund, you found a coin on the ground. You record all money that comes in.
I love it.
Because what we focus on expands, right? So I want people to focus on what's coming.
I love that. So often people are focusing more on where they're spending their money instead of where the money's coming in. And yes, from a vibrational level, that is so much more powerful.
Yes. And even on days when it's a zero, it's important to put that zero down, because that still shows you are in the driver's seat. You are leading the way.
Right.
And it does make a difference. It's one big way to really cultivate your relationship with money. So I am happy to send this tracking sheet with all of the guidelines and the tips that I have been talking about and more as well to anyone that reaches out.
Wonderful. Yeah. And so what I'll do is, we had spoken earlier and you said that direct email would be the best way to contact you to receive this money tracking sheet. So I will put that in the show notes. So all of you that are listening, please scroll down the show notes and look for the email address to get your money tracking sheet. Wonderful. Okay. And so just before we end off here, I would wondering, and I mean, you've already given us so many amazing nuggets. I mean, even for myself, I'm going to go back and listen to this and take notes. And I know there's some things that I can already take from our conversation and put forward into my business. But if there was one thing that you could say to somebody as an entrepreneur, regardless of where they're at, new or not, what would be that thing that you would like to leave them with?
That they have every right to own their worth. Please decide for yourself. Don't let an outside force tell you what you should be charging or what you should be earning, because that's others projecting their limiting beliefs on you.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you so, so much for joining me today. I am very excited to have had you on, and really grateful that you reached out to me the way that you did. I just want to tell a quick little story, because I really think it's important too for people. This could be another nugget for somebody, you know, when I put this out into Facebook world and I was looking for people to interview, I got such a massive response from people that I just haven't even had a chance to go through it all. But Eleni, she reached out to me. She's like, I am taking the bulls by the horn and I want to do this, and I'm going to reach out to this woman and I'm going to figure out what she's up to. And because of that, she got to be my very first guest. And that is why you were all listening to her and I today. So that's what I'd like to leave you all with, is that if there's something that you want or you feel inspired to do something, leap. Take that leap, put yourself out there and just do it. Don't be shy. If there's something that you want, go get it. So that's how this all came to be. So I want to thank you so much, Eleni, for joining me today. And I think with that, we can say goodbye, and hopefully everyone will have gotten some nuggets. And we would love, love, love to hear. You could write in the comments what the nuggets were that you got from this. And by all means, please reach out and get that money tracking sheet. I know I will be, because I love the idea of putting myself in the vibration or the mindset of what's coming to me. I love that idea. I had not thought of that before. So I think this is a brilliant idea. So I'm definitely going to be reaching out and getting my money tracking sheet, and I hope everybody else listening will do the same. So thank you again for coming on, and thank everyone for listening, and we will see you again soon, or hear you again soon. All right. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.